Welcome, everybody. This is Hugh Massie, the CEO and founder of DNA Behavior. And today I'm delighted to host another Identity EQ interview. And with me today is Rick Kent, who is the CEO and founder of Merit Financial here in Atlanta, where we both live. And he's also the founder of a financial wellness business by the name of Mentoro. So, Rick, great to spend some time with you this afternoon.
Hugh, it's always good to be with you. I enjoy our conversations, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you today.
Well, we'll have a great identity conversation today. So Rick, why don't you tell me something about your life journey, career journey to the place you're at today as the founder of Merit Financial, which is a very large financial planning practice here in Atlanta, and Mentoro.
Yeah. You know, I think it's the journey is it's always before us, right? I think I can say at this point in my career that I've learned a lot about just who I am, how I, as a person, and some of the strengths that I have, some of the weaknesses that I have, and it's really helped to be self-aware. I think it's a good quality of a leader to be self-aware. And so I'm always on that journey to try to get better at that, and become more self-aware all the time. And, with the challenges, we've had a lot of growth on the Merit side, and, started off as a financial advisor just a little over 20 years ago. Today, this firm is over $5 billion in assets under management. We have 90 employees. I know that I'm a visionary. And so as I look out over the next, 2-3 years, I can see this doubling again. And so there's been a lot that's happened. But I'm going to say that, finding out what your strengths are, and when you're starting out in life, for me, I think I stumbled on them, meaning I just didn't know. I mean, we all have our DNA makeup of who we are. And I think we're all created differently. I mean, we have different strengths. And for me, it was going on the journey. I would find things out. I'll give you a simple one to start off with. I had no idea that I was good at sales. I just had no idea. And so I was in college, and I was kind of following the line of becoming a biologist, because I thought that was what I wanted to do at the time. And, I needed to go out and earn some money and earn my way through college. And so I took a sales position, and, I just showed up, and on Monday morning we got our marching orders, and, we'd come back and report on Friday. And when I would report, I was doing better than most people in the class. And I thought, I guess I'm pretty good at sales. I didn't know that. It's not something I wanted to do. So I think as we go through life, we kind of find things out about ourselves. And then again, becoming self-aware is a good thing. And we want to, those things that we're really good at, that we have natural talent, a natural unique ability, so to speak, you want to really get in touch with those things and use those things more.
Yeah, and I think your journey in that sense is pretty similar to mine. I did accountancy, and I thought that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm supposed to get a job in it, and you start to learn things about yourself, and you do parts of it really well, other parts not so good. There's certain people that you gravitate to, and it goes on from there. But I think we all get to that moment in life where we start to make a decision. We start with something when we're in our early 20s working.
Right.
And then, that can go quite well. Sometimes for some it doesn't go well, but you move it along. And I think, what you're saying is you did a biology degree, you're good at sales, but something got you into financial services in the mid-90s. There was something going on for you.
Yeah. And well, I'm going to say it was somewhat serendipity, how it got started. I don't think certainly wasn't a mistake in my life. It was almost like it was meant to be. But from my perspective, I I was viewing, I had some friendships, and I was watching what was happening with some of my friends, and they were tied to the insurance industry and to the financial services industry. And, I already knew at that time that I was good at sales, and I've never been afraid to take risk. It just comes natural for me. I don't mind taking risk. I love making decisions. I'll take big risks sometimes, and I've always been a goal setter. All of my life, I've set goals, and it's just, again, something that comes natural for me. And so I thought, well, a lot of the things that I had would fit for the financial services industry. I think I could probably do it. Now, at the time, Hugh, it was 1998. I took the Series 7 exam. I didn't really know anything about the business at all, and passed the exam and all that. And I set out to learn this business, the financial services business. And it just like sales, it came very natural for me. What changed a lot though, as a financial advisor, was that people make money, and they're only investor money with people they trust. That's it. And people that care about them and that they know that they can trust under their advisor. And so, again, that came easy for me. I'm the kind of person that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Yep. If you have a need or a problem, I'm going to call you back right away. I'm not going to wait a day or two to call you back. And my clients very much responded to that. They responded, first of all, that I listened to them. Secondly, that they felt like they could trust me. Third, that I'm responsive back, and if there was any issues or problem, I took care of them. And so kind of using those things as I was building out my financial, as a financial advisor, building out a practice like that, I had early on success, rapid success, and business began to grow.
Were there particular types of clients that you found easier to work with or gravitated to? Was there, were they in a particular area, channel, discipline, size of client, or a certain type of need?
Well, when I got into the industry, I was a student of other financial advisors. And when I'd go to conferences and things, I would always want to learn as much as I could. I did learn a lot more sometimes in the hallway versus sitting through the speakers conference, but just because we all learn from each other. That's a great thing about being involved with having the right people around you, because there's so much to learn from other individuals. Some people are forthcoming with it. Others, you have to dig a little deeper to figure out why they're successful. But a pattern that I saw with a lot of advisors that I talked to, the higher producing advisors, is that they kind of had their focus in a certain area. They had a niche market, and they weren't trying to be all things to all people, but they wanted to figure out a certain market and just really go deep into that market. So I decided that's what I wanted to do, and I wasn't sure what market that was going to be, but I realized I wanted to be, very, very focused in one area so I could have the biggest impact.
And so what area was that you?
So I chose the telecommunications industry. The second largest employer was right here in Atlanta, a huge employer here. And I thought, okay, there's a lot of people for me to work with there. So I focused on them, the telecommunications industry, and really began I took a different approach. I took the approach of, I'm just going to help people. And I'm not going to go out and look for the sale today, but I want to go out and create value for somebody today. And if I can create value for somebody today, I'm making deposits into that person. I think that they'll reciprocate when they're ready to retire and come back to me because I took interest in them prior to that. So it was a different kind of approach, maybe than a lot of financial advisors, and the approach was just build relationships, just build trust, and keep doing that, and keep building your pipeline of people that trust you, and people that appreciate what you're doing for them. and it just worked out really well. For the first year or two, I didn't make very much money. But then all of a sudden, the company had a big layoff, and it was a huge year for me. And from then on, I just kept working on building these pipelines, focusing on niche market.
And when you were, nurturing this pipeline of people in the telecommunications industry, was there something in particular you were doing for them? Were you educating them? What was going on when you were doing that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because it was really, I'm going to call it the secret sauce. You look back at the reason why I was successful was that my focus was to educate them. My focus was, they had their benefits were very complicated. There was a certain set of benefits for the union people. There were separate benefits for the management people. The formulas that they used in their pensions were complicated. Somebody couldn't just look at their pension and say, okay, 10 years from now, this is how much is going to be in my pension. There was a mathematical equation in order to figure that out. It was tied to interest rates and things like that. And interest rates that were changing the calculation. So their overall benefit package was, complicated. And so then if you look at 90% of the people, they struggle with just the basic understanding their 401k.
Yeah.
There's options inside the 401k. What option should I pick? So there's a lot of work for me to do there, and I end up doing a lot of that work. But then they also, in addition to just helping them with basic financial literacy and what they should be doing to prepare for retirement, there was this also complicated pension plan that they had. And so I just became an expert at that. I just really knew it inside and out. And when I would sit down with an employee in the telecommunications industry, it only took 5 minutes, and they realized, gosh, this guy knows a whole lot more about my pension and about my 401k than I do. And so I began building processes out and things like that to create as much value and educate them as much as I could. And they felt great about that. I mean, nobody else was really spending any time with them like that, because most advisors really just wanted to know one thing: when are you going to retire? And I'll give you my business card. So I took a very different approach and said, no, I'm building the relationships first. And, if I build big enough pipelines, the people will start coming out. So it was a very different approach. Which
at the end of the day is what a good salesperson with long-term thinking does. But I think what was underneath it, Rick, what I'm hearing is underneath it, is that you wanted to financially educate these people because you cared about what their life would be like in retirement. And they needed to understand that even while they were working, so they knew what decisions to make while they're still working. It's not just about what happens on the day of retirement. They've got to have the confidence to keep working, or to know, when to step off the train, I suppose, and what to do each year. That's right. And there's a lot of conversations I can remember saying, I don't think it's time to retire right now. We've worked together for 5 or 10 years, and this is the amount of money that really you need to have set aside, where we can't get aggressive on our distribution rate. So, there was a lot of those conversations. But you're right, Hugh. It's really, I just never expected much back out of life until I first offered something to somebody else. Why would somebody just choose me and want me to be their advisor? I didn't expect that to happen. What I expected was I use this term a lot, I had to make a lot of deposits in other people before I expect anything back in return. And what I did find out, Hugh, is that reciprocation is very powerful. It's super powerful. I mean, if you go out of your way to help somebody, they just feel obligated to reciprocate back and help you. I mean, you can, I'm not talking about finances, I'm talking about anything really. If somebody takes an interest in your life and is willing to try to help you out, they become your friend right away when they know that you're genuine and you really care about them. So I had big aspirations, building out a career. As I told you, I've always set goals. It's just been natural for me. And so, I wanted to have a lot of success. I thought, well, the best way to do that
is impact as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, and it's very clear if you've got a business with a $5 billion turnover, with $5 billion under management, which is huge for a RIA business and 90 employees. That's way beyond what most can ever do from starting a business from scratch.
Right.
You've done a lot of the right things, and that's really where I wanted to get to. Rick, was being pinpointed. It was really around financially educating these executives so that they felt nurtured along the journey, and when the moment came that they would retire and it would be a bigger liquidity event for them, they would come to you and you understood them in their life and their career.
Yes. It's interesting. When you're in a niche market, you develop another language, and there's only those people in that niche market understand that language. It's like, just some of the terminology, there's acronyms and things like that. And then, so we would connect early on because I knew their language, and most of the time more than they did. And so, so once I found I could do that and help people, then it just became, me trying to figure out, how do I multiply this? How can I do more of this? And I will tell you that, I started another company a few years ago called Mentoro.
Yeah.
And it was born, the idea behind it was born out of the work I was doing as a financial advisor. And I said 90%, I may be generous there, but when I was sat down with 90% of the people, they had no clue really of what they should be doing with their 401k. And I'd ask them about their 401k, and they said, what drawer did I put that in? I can't remember. It's like, oh, here it is over here. And they would pull that out. And, to have a conversation with them where they were kind of clueless on what they should be doing, how much they should be contributing to it. They really didn't have a goal, to know that hey, if I put 10% in, I'll be able to hit this goal. Now, every now and then I'd come across somebody who had some spreadsheets and they were thinking about it, but not for the most part. And what I realized was, gosh, things changed about 40 years ago where companies started not offering pensions, and they said, your 401k is your responsibility. And I thought, oh my gosh, these people are not going to be able to handle that very well. I can already tell by talking to a lot of them that they're not going to be prepared. So that's really when I had the vision to start Mentoro, which is a financial wellness company that benefits everybody in the firm, not just executives, but from the mailroom to the boardroom, to make sure that they get the help and the financial literacy information that they need to make good informed decisions. And I'm really excited about that company because, today, we probably have 17,000, 18,000 clients. Mentoro is a way that I can help a lot of people, a massive amount of people that need this basic literacy and information.
Yeah, I think with Mentoro, you can help millions. And I suppose, Rick, it's really a way that you can have the conversation that you had back in the late 90s, early 2000s with the telco executives you had one-on-one. Mentoro gives you a way to have that conversation with lots of people.
It does. And, it's great because I'm excited because we're hiring educators now for Mentoro, and it's multiplying. We're working with more companies now, and it's beginning to become a reality, and it's pretty exciting.
But there's also something big that's gone on here that I'm pulling out of this conversation, Rick, is that you've gone from being the one-on-one advisor to these executives, and you've built some platforms, but now you're a leader of a lot of people inside your own company. In a way, you're the primary luminary guide to these millions of clients potentially you're going to come to Mentoro. So what's the driver for you it's taken you from being, even a way, if you want to call it, a consultant to a business leader and building a full-on organization?
Yeah. I really love working with people. and when I first got in the industry as a financial advisor, for me, everything's about relationships, and relationships you build over time. And so every opportunity that I would have, like at conferences or otherwise, I would, if somebody asked for help or asked for my help, I'd always try to help. And, and I think what happened over time is I built a reputation of, just like I did with clients, I started doing that with financial advisors. And still do that today through coaching and other things, that if they need help, need assistance, or they're at a certain path where they're at. I had a conversation last week with an advisor that was in my coaching group, and he said, Rick, I'm not sure how to build out a compensation structure. I'm at 150 million. I'm starting to bring other advisors on board, and I'm not sure about the compensation structure. And so I just worked with him to help him on that.
Yeah, so there is very much even though you're sales orientated in some ways, there is a nurturing side to you. There's a value to nurture people, to guide them, to educate people in general.
It is getting in touch really, with being self-aware, and through with my experience with behavioral DNA was, you kind of know these certain traits that you have, but the more you can learn, the better. And I did start finding out what I was interested in, and it was that when I got good results, why was the reason I was getting good results? And so as an individual and working with clients, you use those talents and strengths. But then as you start building a firm, it's really more about how do you help the people around you? So
Yep.
Inside the organization, as opposed to, how do I help this client? How do I help people around me develop their unique ability? How can I help them become the most valuable they can be to themselves and to the firm? And I've always been big on teams, and getting teams together and helping people develop. So you're right, that natural tendency is there to develop other people. And again, it works the same way that it does with clients right inside of an organization. So if you really want people to follow you, you really want respect from people, you really want people to trust you, it goes back to making those deposits before you ask for any kind of withdrawal. And it's about doing everything you can for them and the people around you. And then, you're going to gain their trust. You're going to gain their respect. They are going to follow you as a leader because you've invested in them first.
Yeah, well, you're clearly a leader, and in today's world, that's what I would call a highly emotionally intelligent leader who understands the need to build relationships. As you say, make emotional deposits in their life, because that's what builds connection. But obviously, you're also pretty good at getting results, because you've pushed a firm along from 0 to 5 billion turnover and got the second business there, which could help you double the whole thing in a few years.
Yeah.
So when you did your business DNA discovery or DNA behavior discovery, it's probably 3 years ago that we first met. What was, and just for our audience who's listening, Rick's an initiator style. What jumped out at you when you did it a few years ago?
Well, it's uncanny. Anybody who ever goes through this process and takes the exam, because there's certain things that you do know about yourself, right? And you've heard other people make comments about your behavior. And so when you first go through it, you kind of chuckle and laugh a little bit, and you go, yeah, that's me. That's kind of the way that I operate. But it's, for me, it was it was confirming, right? I mean, you think you have a pretty good handle on who you are when you become self-aware and become more self-aware, I should say. But it's confirming, and it's like, okay, here's some actual, science behind my thoughts and my feelings. And so, and it's easy too. It's really, you can take this behavioral DNA with all the information it spits out, and you can share it with another person, and you can get feedback from another person that says, yeah, Rick, you really are this way, or you do tend to have these characteristics or tendencies. So it just, to me, it helped overall get the confirmation, and to begin to ask the question, okay, there's, now that we've identified strengths, and we've identified things that need to be worked on, and we've identified communication styles, it's been real helpful for me to, from the team perspective, understanding what different people are on the team, whether they be a relationship builder, facilitator, adapter, or whatever, that I can understand them more and communicate better with them.
Yeah, because in a way, the Holy Grail of all of this that I always say is, it's not just knowing your talents as the leader, or that of the team, but it's being able to manage all the differences and having a concrete framework to be able to do that. That's really what it brings about. And that's not just for building a team, which is important if you're going to grow a business like you have, but also for managing all of the clients, because they're part of it too. If you don't have happy clients, then you don't have much of a business. And so the DNA, in a way, helps you do both in sense of managing that team and the clients. But it's also giving your financial planners and executives an opportunity to follow you and do the same thing as well, using a framework.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, we use it quite a bit around here at our firm, and we're now using it on, we've been hiring a lot of people. There's been a lot of opportunity coming our way, and we use it in our interviewing process. So when we just ask the candidate to, take the DNA test, and it just kind of gives us a head start in understanding that person, and particularly, for the roles. It's like there was an interview today, and we were looking to expand our investment department, and no surprise that when they took the behavioral DNA, they were a strategist, which is good. If they were in the right place there right off the bat, so it's helpful.
And there's no doubt, when I look at your style as an initiator and being quite take charge, Rick, and certainly very pioneering and competitive, with that drive to build a bigger business, but also just for sales. If I was hiring a salesperson, you'd be number one on my list from the mix of behavioral traits. But what I also want our listeners to understand is that you've done a lot of work in understanding, sales isn't just about treating every person you meet as a number and how much can I get from them. Right. I've got to make emotional deposits in them, and you've also learned to temper it to build an organization, as well. That's right.
I get excited sometimes when I think about how much value can be created, with the right team and the right people, like as you mentioned earlier, being able to reach millions of people. It's exciting to think about, the lives you could impact. So it's
and are you bringing, as you bring more advisory firms under your net through acquisition and in a way relationship building, and I know you're coaching some using ClientWise, which is good as well. Are you looking for those advisors that want to financially educate their clients? Is there something there that's a standout, that quality that they've got to have to come and be with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess, number one is there has to be, alignment of core values. They have to really, fit in with our culture. But we're still doing what we did when we first started, and that is, really focused on the client's needs, helping as many people as we possibly can. And so that's important. I think another thing that's important is that we have, we really have this big appetite for growth. We want to continue growing, and we can have a bigger impact in the world the more that we grow. So we're looking for people that want to grow, that have an appetite for growth. There's a lot of advisors today that you've heard the term, I'm sure, Hugh, the lifestyle advisor. They had success, and they get to a certain place with their success, and it's like they're just happy, coming in office 2 or 3 days a week and kind of tailing off from responsibilities, and they're happy with their lifestyle. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all, but we're really looking for people who want to be innovative, who want to grow, who want to be part of a team. And one thing that's working really well right now is that we're finding that we can, just pulling from our own experiences and through our own growth, that advisors start off managing client relationships. That's how all advisors start off. And then as their business grows, now they have to change hats and become a business owner. That means payroll, that means HR, that means compliance, that means a lot of other things that they didn't really sign up for. And they're finding that, the more people they bring on, that they have to become more of a business owner. What we're finding is a kind of a sweet spot there. As those advisors get to that position, we can say, hey, we can relieve you of a lot of those things about running, a lot of those things you have to do in running a business. And let's do a comparison. Let's do your own projection where you think you're going to be 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years from now. And let's overlay that on if we came together and relieved you of some of those responsibilities, had resources behind you, could tell you the best way to grow from here, and to the point where you actually become part of our team. And for many people, they're realizing it's a better move for them to do that. They're going to end up having a better career joining us than working out there on their own.
Yeah, well, business ownership, which many people don't understand, until they're well into it, is a 24/7 responsibility. It doesn't matter, whether you work 1 hour a week on the business or in the business or 40 or 100. You're taking responsibility for a lot of lives, employees, families, and that's a big burden. But also in today's world, I think, Rick, with technology the way it is, it's complicated and expensive to maintain, and you need a certain level of infrastructure. I'm not sure a one-man band or a small firm can do it to the same level, unless they're extremely sharp as a consultant. They're a brain surgeon in a particular area as far as financial planning is concerned. That doesn't require a lot of technology, but anything beyond that, scaling requires really a much bigger outfit to be part of, I think. Yeah, and
you brought up a good point there. So let's say they're excellent financial advisors. But let's ask the question, how good are they at understanding technology, implementing technology, and getting technology to work for them? Most of them are going to say, no, that's not me. Those are two different skill sets. And to your point, in today's world, you don't have much of a choice. There's some of the firms out there, the larger RIAs, are creating a tremendous, great technology experience. A client experience is tied into the technology. And guess what? That's only going to be more so going forward.
Yeah.
So that when we talk about a client experience without technology, it's almost like, I don't know how you do that. For us, there's a couple of things. One, a lot of times we just get to know advisors, and they want, they're interested in learning more about Merit and wanting to join our team. But we also have an independent RIA channel that we work with advisors on, and that's where they can totally keep their independence, but still be associated. So we still take off those responsibilities, like their technology, their compliance, their marketing, and we can run that through our back office, and they can just keep doing what they do best and start meeting with clients. They keep their company name and all that. They're total independent, but we're just helping them. So helping advisors that way. And then we're also, a lot of advisors are joining us because they like what's going on with the team.
But if we, Rick, wrap up on identity a little bit here, and there's your identity and there's the identity of Merit, which probably are pretty close. But the reason that advisors would want to team up with you, with the network, people come to work with you, do you feel it's something to do with the fact that, you've got this methodology on how you can financially educate the client, that you got the approach of sewing into the client's life first. They know that they can come in and do that with you, and there's the resources there. For example, with Mentoro provides an extra piece, infrastructure to do that. That's what makes it attractive. That's something for you to leverage.
At the end of the day, what I really think it is, and I'm having conversations with advisors all the time. And, when I first got started in the industry, I wanted to help as much as I could. I'm in a better position to help advisors today. But really what it comes down to is them taking the time to get to know us, our operations, and making it a simple decision. Could I be stronger? I ask this question all the time, is like, it's very difficult to think about adopting something else, or let's call it the Merit way of doing business versus the way that an advisor was doing business before, which is very client focused and creating value for clients. But it really comes down to one question, and for that advisor to answer once they get to know us and what we do and how we do it, is that could we be stronger together? Could they come and add a lot to our team? Could we add a lot to them in their career and their career path? And if the answer is we could be stronger together, then that's really what drives the decision.
But that's an important reason for an advisor to team up with you to, whether it sell into you or however, partner, however you want to describe it. But if I put it another way, for a new client to come on board with Merit, what's the driver of that? You've got an identity as a firm. They're not just coming to you because you're a large firm. They're coming to you because of something that you do in the client service.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we talk a lot about, and it's our purpose around here at Merit, is that we want to reinvent the financial client relationship. There's been a lot of damage done in the industry where clients can't trust the firm that they're working with. The Bernie Madoffs of the world didn't help us any, and things like that. So we're constantly working on, just like I did when I first started, building that trust and building that relationship with the client. And the other, if you went to our website, you would see we have a lot of niche markets. I started off in the telecommunications as a niche market. Today, we have a niche market for widows, people who've been widowed. We have a niche market today for people who go through divorce. We have a niche market today for like not telecommunications, but utility industry, where people work for utility companies. So there's just a lot of niche markets that we have, and a lot of times when people join us, they can plug in to one of those niche markets.
But also, all of those people in those niche markets need financial education, don't they?
Absolutely, they do, and they want to be educated versus sold. They don't want to be sold anything. They want to be educated.
Because I think at the end of the day, Rick, that's the big pull. I think from an identity point of view, the education that we're going to educate you and grow with you and help you grow is the key piece. I know if I'm a client, that's what I want. The people working with me to do, which creates an empowerment, which I know is a big part of what you're about as well.
It's true. I mean, think about any service that you get from any organization. Who do you want to talk to? If you have a problem with your car, you have a problem with your house, who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to somebody who knows a lot more than you do about the problem, right?
Yeah.
And somebody who immediately has answers and solutions to the pain that you're dealing with. and trying to get whatever fixed or whatever repaired or whatever the case may be. So that's the approach that we take. It's like, understanding people where they're at, anticipating what their needs are, because sometimes they can't even articulate them.
Yeah.
They'll tell you they have some pain points, but they really can't tell you what they really need. So you really have to listen well, anticipate what they need, and offer them solutions. And I think as we do that, we attract more and more clients our way.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. So I'm going to, as we wrap up here, Rick, I'm really going to look forward to working with you over the next 5 years and seeing Merit grow, both as an organization, because you've got you as a great leader, but you've also got a team of great leaders at the helm, and bringing great practices in, and also building Mentoro out to have, substantial impact on a lot of people, because America needs everybody financially educated. We're in a difficult place right now, I think, and it's not a financially literate country to the extent it should be, and we need more people to be better served in that area as they go into retirement, because retirement's also going to be a longer longer thing for people. So thank you, Rick, for spending some time with me this afternoon, and I look forward to talking soon.
Thank you, Hugh. I always enjoy our conversations. Look forward to seeing you again soon.